This is the LN Lenkeen, a $10 or £16 budget military style watch. I've been wearing it for a few days and honestly, I wasn't expecting much. But to my surprise, I am, in many areas, quite pleased with it, although there is one thing that I'm struggling to look past. Let's take a look. My first impression of this watch was that the dial is very smart. I was actually a little bit shocked when I first opened up the watch's packaging to find such a well-presented dial at such a low budget. And I think the dial can actually compete with military or field watches from other better-known brands. It might be clear to some of you watching that this watch looks quite similar to the Timex Expedition. You would be correct. So I'm not going to say that this watch has anything particularly original or, exciting about it from a design perspective, but I think if you line this watch up against other well-known field watches, visually, it would fit in. Performance-wise though, maybe not so much, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. The dial itself is a nice pale green with very clear Arabic numerals which are slightly raised above the dial surface, helping a little with legibility. The dial also features 24-hour markers on the inner ring, enabling you to read 24-hour military time. The Lenkeen has sword-style white hands outlined in black, a great choice for this dial, and they do have lume paint on them, but this isn't particularly strong as expected with a budget watch. We also have a date window at 3 o'clock and the Lenkeen logo printed in the middle to complete what I think is a great looking dial. The dial sits underneath a mineral glass crystal, which is expected for a budget military style watch, walking the line between cost effectiveness and durability. It has a stainless steel case, which is a sort of matte grey. It feels solid enough and it does look nice on the wrist. The lugs are pretty standard and curved to fit the wrist, and I'd say overall this case is comfortable to wear. The watch sits fairly large on the wrist. Its case is 42mm in diameter, 48mm lug to lug, and 12mm thick. This case is held onto the wrist by green nylon straps. The straps are fine, that's all I can say about them really. They're reasonably comfortable and they do the job. The keeper or loop, which holds the loose end of the strap in place, is really not very good. It's too loose, and when I was wearing it out and about, I went out on a hike, it would often slip out and flap around. So I'd say it's worth replacing the strap when you buy this watch, although a good replacement strap is more than the watch itself, so maybe not. Now, we're about to move on to some of the other issues I've faced with this watch, but before we do, if you are enjoying this video so far, please do subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that you know when I upload. So, the movement. The Lenkeen has a quote, Japanese imported quartz movement, and that's as much information as I could get about the movement online, which doesn't give me much faith in the movement, but also means there's not much I can say about it other than it makes the hands turn round in a circle, and I've been wearing the watch for a few days now, and it's keeping time. The caseback, which is nicely presented in stainless steel, is so tight that I've actually been unable to get it off to even look at the movement, so the movement is a bit of a mystery. However, the mysteriousness isn't the only issue I have with the movement. The first issue that I've noticed is that when you go to set the time, it can be hard to do that accurately. A lot of the time when you push the crown back in, the hands slip and you have to reset them, which, not the end of the world, but it's very frustrating and not an issue that I've had with other budget watches before. But the most annoying thing to me as someone who really looks at a watch in detail is the way the seconds hand lands on the minute markers. On a budget watch, I'm not going to get upset if the seconds hand doesn't land exactly on the minute markers. But on the Lenkeen, the seconds hand sometimes hits the minute mark and sometimes doesn't. From 12 until 6, it's a bit hit and miss, and then from 6 until 12, it's actually quite accurate and hits the mark. So it's a little bit all over the place, and I'm not sure if it actually affects the watch's accuracy, but it's an odd quirk that does annoy me. However, I would like to say, just as a quick disclaimer, this is my experience from using one of these watches. There is a chance that I have just picked up a faulty watch. So please do bear that in mind. Either way, I'm left with mixed feelings about this watch. I would genuinely recommend it to maybe parents, people that are looking at giving their child their first watch, or I'd recommend it to people who just want a nice set and forget watch that looks quite nice, it complements an outfit, they can just casually wear it, and people that aren't really into watch collecting. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to those of you who are into watch collecting, which I reckon is quite a few of you watching this video. I'd say for you guys, it's definitely worth spending that extra little bit of money and getting yourself a Timex Expedition. And it is a shame that I'm saying that because this watch surprised me by how good it looks, but has really let me down with its poor movement. Anyway, what do you think? Have you had a negative experience with one of these watches? Am I talking absolute rubbish and you absolutely love them? Let me know in the comments. I'm always open to having my mind changed when it comes to watches. I do have links to both this watch and the Timex in the description. These are affiliate links, so I do make a small commission if you use that link to buy the watch, which helps out the channel, but at no extra cost to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.